Good morning, virtual villagers. Hi there, I'm Kate from What Kate Made. Welcome to my session on bobbin crafts. So, we all have bobbins, or maybe not so much now, but I was recently gifted a whole load of wooden bobbins, um, which are great. With these crafts, you don't have to use wooden bobbins. You can use normal bobbins, but these are the ones that I was given, which are vintage wooden bobbins. Lots of them still got their labels on. So that's really nice. Just a little thing this morning. I've had a bit of a technical issue with my tripod, so you may be wobbling a bit because I've had to have a new arrangement. Every time I touch the table, it wobbles. Anyway, back to the craft. So what we're going to make this morning, we're going to make three little things from our bobbins. Using bobbins, wire, beads, bits of ribbon, all sorts of little bits and pieces that you have about. So the first thing we're going to make is a photo holder. Now, I'll bring it a bit closer so you can see. This is some nice ribbon I've got with a dog theme. So that one says Woof on it, and it's got buttons. And it's got a little wire photo holder. And this I don't know, that's a picture of my little Jack. It's not a very good picture because my printer's running out of ink. But I thought that'll just show you what it looks like with the photo in. So that's the first thing. The second one, again, I've gone with the dog theme because I had all these ribbons. That one says Puppy Love on it. With this one, I have to always remember which way the camera goes. I've threaded a little dog paw charm on the bottom, and then I've threaded some beads on. These are all on a wire through the middle of the bobbin, and then just a piece of cord to match. So you can hang it. So that's a hanging one. And the final one I've made, which is, if you're a sewer, is really useful, is a little mini pincushion. So it's on the bobbin. Now this is plastic bobbin. This is one of that I've had thread on that I've had on my sewing machine. And again, I've decorated it with ribbon and a bit of lace, put a little pincushion top on it, and then I put a little hanging loop so you can hang it over your wrist. So when you're doing your best sewing bee impression, you've got pins and needles to hand. Then it will also sit on your desk as well. So it'll sit like that. Okay, so I'll show you what we're going to use today as regards equipment. Obviously bobbins, double-sided tape and glue, scissors. So I've got fabric ribbon scissors and glue scissors. Never the twain shall meet. I've also got a narrower double-sided tape, that's useful. A few pliers. These are the ones I use for jewellery. They're not essential. You don't have to use wire, you can use cord, but I've got these. And I've also got a pen. That's my drawing disappearing fabric pen, and a circle template for my pincushion. Also, we've got assorted beads. We've got assorted ribbons. My box of ribbons. We've got some fabric for our pincushion, and that's about it really. Oh, wire. So anyway, I'm going to turn the camera down and attempt to get started. Please bear with me because, as I said, this is a very Heath Robinson style cobbled together tripod effort, and it's even got rubber bands on it. So that's how if you remember Heath Robinson. Now, hopefully you can see my hands. Yes. Okay. So I think we'll start with the pitch frame bobbin. This is the simplest because it's just a case of putting your ribbons on. So for this one, I have chosen just a very simple arrangement. I'm going to use this little wooden bobbin. I'm going to use some cream ribbon and some sort of little bobbly cord. You need the length of jewellery wire to make your hold of it. And I wrapped it around this thick marker pen. So, without further ado, I'm going to put the glue on. Everything's tippling over here, just bear with me. I've got a sort of pile of stuff. Put my glue on so that's heated when I need it. So I'm going to use glue to attach the wire in, but I'm going to stick the ribbon and the cord on, probably the cord with glue because it's quite narrow, but I'm going to use this wide double-sided tape. So this is actually it's the perfect width for these bobbins. So I'm going to stick that on so it's in between the wooden edges of the bobbin, and I'm going to go carefully around all the way around until it meets at the other side, and then I'm going to, can you see everything? I'm going to cut it. Now I don't know how many's out there watching. Again, I've had technical difficulties with my I cut a bit too much there with my comments this morning. I am attempting to get them up now, so please bear with me. I will have a quick go. Everything's gone wrong this morning, and it's hot, and I've got a sore shoulder. So while that's warming up, let's go back. So you can see I've put my bobbins, got the tape's gone all the way around, and I'm just going to peel the backing off the tape now, which is always easier said than done. I'll use the scissors. You just need to get under the edge of the tape, and then once you've got it up, it comes off really easily. So there we go. Fingernails don't really help. Do you know what? I knew it was going to be one of them mornings when I woke up at 6 o'clock. There. So what we've got now is tape all around our bobbin, so we can then stick the ribbon on. This ribbon is a acrylic one, and it does fray a little. So I am going to just singe the edges a little bit just to stop it fraying. Do this very carefully. Don't set fire to the ribbon. You can see as it singes, it sort of melts the edges. And I'm going to place that on the, I'm trying to get you, make sure you're still in camera, on the double-sided tape, and very carefully wind it round so that it just sits on the edge of that bobbin. Now, this part of the make is the same for them all. Trim that to the right length, just peel it back, and then I will, that has frayed quite a bit, look, I will just melt those ends so it doesn't fray anymore, and then stick it down. So that's the first part of the ribbon on it. So the second part is this nice beaded bobbly cord almost. I'm still not able to get your comments up. I just hope you're out there. So because we've still got this tape there, that will do very nicely to stick this one on. So I'm going all the way around again. And then I'm going to just cut that where it meets. And I think if I've got enough, I might go around again the bottom. I have got, it isn't quite long enough, that piece, so I'll grab another bit. There it is. And I will stick some more around the bottom. I shall just put a dab of glue on it. There at the join. And stick it on as I go. Turn it that way up so that the flat edge of the cord is up against the bobbin edge. And I shall just put little dabs of glue, just little tiny ones as I go around. I don't need to glue everything. Right, and then I can cut that. Just trying to match up the bobbles and cut between them. And a little bit more glue, and that is that done. So that's lovely. That's quite nice and decorative. Sit on your side. Of course, you could choose ribbons to match your decor if you want, or try and coordinate your colours together a little bit more. Now I'm going to leave that top on because I think it's part of its charm, although I'm not sure just how well it'll stay on. I might just put a little dab of glue under there because it kind of shows the vintageness of it. Oh, So that's that bit done. The next bit to do is to make the photo holder. So this is jewellery wire. This is quite pliable. So it will bend quite easily. I am having no luck with my equipment today. Right, so what I want to do is, it's going to go in there, it's going to go round in a circle, and it's going to go back down again. So right in the middle, I'm going to put my marker pen in, and I'm going to bend my wire right round to make that sort of double spiral. Well, single spiral, but like that. Okay, and then I'm just going to squeeze that a little bit so that it comes together. I find it easier if you push the circle through. It makes it nice and tight. Then we're going to pull these two ends together so it looks like the top half of a safety pin. I'm just going to trim the wire so that they're the same length. These are my wire trimming pin. There we go. And then that just sits in there like that, and we will put a blob of glue to hold it. So I will get my glue, put a new stick in it. And I'm going to put quite a big blob of glue because the hole's quite big and we want it to stick to the sides. It's gone right through to the bottom, but that will very soon set, and I might just put a bit more on the top here. It dries clear and it dries quickly, so it's ideal for this, is hot glue. And it's taking its time to set, but that's our first one, the little photo holder. Don't worry about the stringy bits of glue, they'll just peel off and off your fingers. So what do you think? Is that was fairly easy to do, and you've got a lovely little decorated bobbin with the vintage label still on it. Right, so I'll put that to one side to dry, and we'll move on to the next one. How are we doing for time? We're all right for time. Okay, I am going to try and get your comments up, so please bear with me. Okay, we'll move on, I think, to the beaded hanging one. Sorry about the wobbling. There we go, that's us. I'll be able to see what I'm doing now as well. So we'll move on to this beaded one. I'll say a few good mornings when I get a little bit of time. So again, I'm going to just use one of the very nice vintage wooden bobbins. I'm going to decorate the, I'm going to make this a bit of a Christmassy theme. So what I'm going to use is some gold thread and some gold cord and some gold wire and some red ribbon, and I've got a little selection of red and gold beads here. Now with this one, it's going to be slightly different because I'm going to thread the beads onto the wire and then bring the wire up through the bobbin. So you do use a few jewellery skills in this. Just try to straighten that out a bit. So this is where your pliers come in. So the first thing I want to do is put something on the bottom to stop my wires, my beads all flying out at the bottom. So what I'm going to do is curl it. These are needle nose pliers, and they allow you to curl a circle on your wire. So I'm going to just turn this into a circle like that, like an eye hole, and then I'm going to turn it at a right angle because that will make the beads stop. Now the beads I've got here, I've got various different ones. That one is slightly different in that it threads through the top. So that was the one I'm going to have dangling at the bottom. So that's why I'm going to use this gold thread just to tie it on. Now if I'm really lucky, that will just go through the hole, and if I'm not, I'll have to try and find a needle. There you go. So you can see I've, oops, where are you? I've threaded that onto a bit of the gold thread. So I'll cut that. And then I will knot that just with a double knot to hold it and let it dangle. Then I'm going to thread my double knot through my eye loop. And then I'm going to tie it again. And then I'm going to seal it with a little bit of hot glue, because it can be a little bit, it can fray a little bit, this gold thread. There. It's not very easy to tie either. Should have maybe left it a bit longer. So what I want to do is get my red bead dangling like that. So I'm going to put tiny dot of hot glue just on that circle there, and that will hold that. I'm going to trim the rest of the gold thread off when I've finished. Okay, so now I've got my assortment of beads. Some are going to go on the top and some are going to go on this bit here. So what I'm going to use, I think, on this bit is one of these little flower shaped caps. Can you see? I'm going to just thread that on so it sits right on top of my little circle. That will help keep that in place. Now that glue is set now, so I can trim off these edgings. So that is the bottom half of my metallic Christmassy themed hanging bobbin. I'm getting there in the end. Right, so we'll decorate this now while that is just now that that's finished. So I'm going to use this red ribbon and this gold cord, which is new, so I haven't opened it yet. Right. Okie dokie. Again, I'm going to put my double-sided tape all the way around my bobbin. So that it's quite fortunate that these bobbins all fit this double-sided tape. It's quite by accident, I assure you. And then I'm just going to cut that where it overlaps, just before it overlaps. And then we'll peel off the paper. Oh, easier this time. And then I'm just going to seal up the ends of my ribbon again, because this again is an acrylic ribbon. Where's the join? And I'm going to place that on the bottom part of my bobbin and gently ease it round. And then I'm going to trim that. And just seal the edges again. There we go. So that's the red bit. Then I'm going to wrap the gold cord around this top bit. I might go 2 or 3 times round, so I'm going to cut off quite a long piece of cord, just because there's quite a big gap. The gap is bigger than the cord. So where's my join? I will start there and wrap it round the edge, so it's right up against the edge of the bobbin. Whoops, it's moving. Yeah, might need to put a bit of hot glue on that as I go. So we'll do a bit at the start. Sometimes the double-sided tape isn't quite as sticky as you want it to be. It's great for ribbon because the ribbon's very broad, but this cord's quite narrow, so it's not always sticking. Right, so we can start going round again. Press it in as we go, and then when we get back to the beginning, I'm going to go underneath and carry on. Might need to go around 3 times, I think, just to cover all of this. You can push your cord up a little bit, and I will keep just putting a tiny spot of glue on it just to hold it a bit more securely, and then carry on with our last round. Just inch that up a little bit so that it covers, and that's us all the way around. Long scissors. Now what you could do is put another row around the bottom, which I think I will. So we will use glue for this because we've covered up the sticky tape with our ribbon there. So let's just give that a chance to. Oh, it's hot glue. You have to remember it's hot, which I frequently forget and burn myself. Okay. So I could have used a Christmas ribbon. Unfortunately, all my Christmassy things are fastened away at the moment. They're, because I need space for other things, so I tend to put Christmas and occasions away as I deal with them. Lots of boxes in the loft. So that's our like red and gold themed one. Now back to our beading. We're now ready to put our bead through the bobbin hole. Which way was I going to do it? That way, I think. And you'll see that the little flower thing we've popped on the bottom doesn't come through. So a little bit of glue under there, and that will hold it very nicely. Now you could use, I've done all this by hand, you could use an eye pin or an earring pin if you do jewellery. So you can see that our little red bead hangs underneath now, so that's quite effective. Now for the top, we're going to thread the other beads on. Now what I've got here is, I've got a large, we won't be using all this way, but I've got a large flat one. I've got some little, what I call spacer beads. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. I've got this round sort of beaten look one. And then I've got another flat one. Quickly, I might put a red one on as well, actually. Just let me find my box of red beads. So these are my red beads. And I've got a nice little crystal one. I think that one might thread on. Oh, that's pretty. Might do that one. This is me, I get completely distracted by beads. I found a spacer sized one as well, so we'll maybe use those. I'm just thinking the gold looks a bit dull. Leave the big flat one on, and then we'll put this red one on, and then a gold spacer, then this nice sort of pear-shaped one. Can you see what I'm doing? Yes. I'm still a bit worried about this tripod. And then another spacer. No, that doesn't fit. This one might have to go on the top, actually. I'll put that red bead on next. All my beads are recycled from jewellery, from various different places like charity shops and car boot sales. I buy necklaces and I pull them apart for the beads. So most of my beads are recycled. Right, I think that I'm going to call that it. I'm going to just, because I really like this little pear-shaped one. So that's going to go on the top. So I've got some left on, push them to one side. So this is where we are, and what we want to do now is get our wire as straight as we can, and we're going to make another little eye loop on the top, but the top eye loop will be for threading our cord through. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue underneath that bottom bead, just so that it holds it without it moving too much, because you don't want your beads running up and down. The eyelet at the top will hold it, hold all the beads on. So I'm going to take my needle nose pliers again, and I'm going to wrap the wire around the widest bit of them into making it into a loop, and then I'll just put a couple of wraps around to hold the beads in place. So the wire will wrap round like that, and that'll make a nice neat eye loop. Just give it a bit of a squeeze, straighten it up, cut off the excess wire. So wire cutters have two sides. They have a ridge side, and they have a flat side. If you put the flat side right against your bead, it will cut it off right against your bead. I'm just going to take these other crocodile ones and give it a little squeeze, because I just want to make sure we don't have any sticking out sharp bits of wire. So that will squeeze it in. So all we need now is our cord. And I'm going to use the same cord because I had this little bit left over. I'm going to thread it through, or you could use red if you wanted to carry on the contract. Just tie a little knot in it. Somebody's trying to ring me now. And there we go. Isn't that beautiful? Christmas tree decoration with a bobbin. I can see that my friend who gave me all the bobbins is going to be asking for them back now. So that's our second one. And our third and final one is our little tiny pincushion. Now the ribbon you can add if you want. You don't have to. That I just thought that was quite nice to hang it from your wrist. But you don't have to. So I'm going to go again. We're starting with a bobbin. Just want to find one that's slightly bigger. Seems to be quite a few of these ones. And and I am going to decorate this one with pinks, because I thought that one was blues. I'll do a pink one as well. Oh, you also need a little bit of toy stuffing. So I have got some really nice fabric with a little rose pattern on it. You don't want a pattern too big, otherwise you'll lose the pattern completely. I've got pink ribbon, and I've got cream lace, which I'm hoping will go around twice. Yes, it will just. Okay, so again, back to the double-sided tape. I'm getting better at this, peeling it off, aren't I? Put that on there. You could set yourself up in a little production line with this if you wanted to make lots of these. They make really nice gifts. If you know somebody who sews, it's not only the fact that it's a pincushion, that they appreciate the fact that it's made of a bobbin as well. It's kind of on a theme for anybody who sews. So just make sure that's fitting all the way around, and then get in there with my nails. Say that. Got it. I haven't said any hellos yet because I'm conscious that I started late. So again, I'm just going to trim my ribbon and seal the ends. Please be careful if you do this at home. Don't set fire to yourself. But it is very effective. It's probably slightly safer if you light a tea light and do it that way. I should have said that from the beginning, shouldn't I? So this time I'm going to put my ribbon more in the middle because I want to put lace top and bottom of it. So my pink ribbon's going all the way around. And then I'm going to cut it at the other end. And just seal up the edge of that again. So that's the ribbon with a bit at the top and the bottom. I don't think that's enough tape to hold the lace on, so I'm going to use glue as well. Give that time to warm up slightly. So my lace is going to sit on the end like that. It will stick a little bit to the tape, so we can see how far around it'll go. Hopefully it'll go around far enough. I will add a little bit of glue to it when it warms up. Slightly short. The nice thing about lace is that it stretches. And then the other bit, is it going to be too much? No, there we go. The other bits to go around the bottom. This lace I just bought at a haberdasher's. It comes like ribbon on a roll. Hobbycraft or anywhere wherever you buy your ribbon, really. So let's put a little bit of glue. There's my gluey scissors. Under there, and I might just peel that back and put some more glue around. We don't want it coming off. The other thing about sticking on lace, of course, is that the glue comes through the holes in the lace, so just really be careful. And I'll do some glue again there. Get that started. And then some more glue around. Now the pink and the cream lace go very well with the colours in the fabric, which is why I chose that fabric. So we like a bit of coordination. I've just got a little bit extra there. So this gap I can actually cover. So it will look less obvious. There we go. So I think we'll have the top where the label is. Now, the way I did mine was I put the ribbon on first, the hanging loop ribbon, because then you can seal the top with the pincushion bit. So I'll just find my narrow ribbon. I've got some nice pink coordinating ribbon. So I'm going to cut. I tested this around the widest part of my hand because I have quite wide hands. So if you want it to go on your wrist, it needs to be able to go over the widest bit of your hand. So that's how long I want it to be out. So I'm going to add another inch for tying it. So I'm just going to tie a knot in this. I'm going to poke it through first, because I just need to make that hole a bit bigger in that. Oh, the label's moving. You see, they're quite old, these. I might just put a little dab of glue under the label to keep it on. Now I'm going to thread the thread the ribbon through from the bottom. It's quite stiff, this ribbon, so it is going through, and I can just poke it through a bit with the pliers. See if I can pull it through from the other end. Sometimes the twisting motion helps it go through. I can just see it there. I'll pull it through with the pliers. There we go. That's only one bit. Tell you what, might be better if I did it the other way, from the hanging loop, because that's a little bit stronger and I'm not up against the paper. There we go. So you can see it's come out the bottom. And I will tie the knot here before I loop it all the way through. Let me just pull that slightly, make the ends even. That makes the knot easier to tie then. So we want to get that knot as close to the end as we can. And then we can pull the loop through at the bottom. It has come a little bit small, that I maybe should have cut my, but it's still quite attractive like that. So a little bit of glue under the knot. I say a little bit, quite a lot of glue under the knot. And then I'm just gonna stick it down. Okay, so that is the bobbin bit finished. So now we'll get on with the pincushion. So our fabric and our template, that's a 4-inch circle. The one I made yesterday, I used a smaller 3-inch circle, but I think it, when I come to gather it, it was a little bit difficult to make it fit properly. So we just want a single width of our fabric and choose a bit that's quite attractive with quite a small print on it. So I'm going to go for this bit here with the little rosebuds on it. I'm going to pop that on there, use my disappearing marker pen. This disappears with heat, but it is going to be underneath where we're sewing anyway. Okay, that's that. So cut out your circle. It's very rough. It doesn't have to be precise, this, because it's going to be gathered and hidden underneath. Just generally speaking, if you start with a circle, you end with a circle. So that's what we want. It's a bit noisy here this morning. I've had to open the windows because it's so hot. I shouldn't be complaining, should I? Okay, there's our circle. And now we need just some sewing thread, which we're going to use to do our gather. Now when I'm gathering, I always double the thread through the needle, just because it gives you an anchor and it's easier to draw your gathers together. So I double the thread up and then knot it in the, put it through the needle, double it and knot it in the end. Does that make sense? And then when I do my first stitch, so we're going to go in about 1/2 centimetre from the edge. If you're worried about your material fraying, you can always back it with a bit of iron-on interfacing. Then I go through the loop of the where the knot is, and it gives a good anchor for gathering. And then I'm just going to gather, not massive stitches, but not tiny stitches. You could use elastic for the wrist. That's a very good idea. That's Deb saying that. I finally got my comments up, so I could say a few mornings. Good mornings. Good morning, Anne. Good morning, Mary. Good morning, Ali. And good morning, Deb. I'm sure there must be more of you out there. Say hello. Don't be shy. So I'm carrying on, pulling my gathers all the way around, getting everything tangled together. The only problem with doubling your thread is it can get a bit tangled, so you just have to be careful. I'm not an expert sewer. I'm very much, I can do gather stitch and that's about it. So don't feel that you have to be a good sewer. This actual method as well, if you use a smaller circle, it's quite good for doing fabric covered buttons. If you've got buttons but they don't quite match or something, or if you want to jazz up a dress or coat, you can always use this method to cover buttons, which is nice. Now I'm all the way around now, so I'm going to semi-gather it into like a little, so it looks like a little mob cap, and then I'm going to stuff it. So I'm using toy filling at the moment. Generally speaking, I tend to use, because I'm very much a reduce, reuse, recycle lady. I tend to use old pillows and cushions and use the stuffing out of them. They are fireproof and toy safe because obviously cushions have to be as well. So pop that in the middle, a generous sized ball, and then pull your gathers tight and tuck it in as you go. So what we're ending up with is a little cushion. And then you just sew through these gathers to hold them tight. It doesn't have to be beautiful. The whole aim of it is to hold it tight and not for it not to unravel. So you're just doing little stitches, hand over hand. Oh, you don't want a pen in it. And that should do it. So when we're ready to fasten off, I just go through my loop of thread and it pulls it knotted, and that's us. So I'll get rid of the thread and the needle. Now, it's a little bit of an odd shape. Just roll it in your hands and, you know, tweak at it till it's a desirable shape. And then it's simply a case of sticking it on. Now, be generous with the glue. Man's gone to sleep because you've got that knotted ribbon under there. So what I'm going to do is put the glue all around the edge. So that my pincushion sits, and I'll put a dot in the middle as well. So I'm going to press that on, and then I'm going to push it down all around the edges because I want it to be like a mushroom, and I'm going to hold it. And hold it, and hold it. You might have thought my screen froze then. It looks like it's frozen, but it hasn't. Right, so then you can see, I'll show you what I mean. It's come right down to the edges. If there's anywhere where it's peeking up a bit, you can just put an extra little dot of glue like there. And then all it needs after that is some pins. You could even get coordinating pins, but I've just got what I've got. So that's it finished. What do you think? I'm going to pop you up again. Hopefully I haven't made you too seasick with it rocking about. Hi. I'm all askew as well. So what did you think? Did you enjoy your bobbin crafts? There are lots of other things you can do. If you look on the internet, I'm sure you can find 101 things to do with bobbins. I'm just looking round now at what I've made today. My beautiful red. I'm really pleased with that, the red and gold. You could do it with green as well. I think that's a little bit, straighten that up a bit at the top. My pincushion, which we're going to hang that way. And do you know what? I can't find the last one. I put it on my worktop somewhere and I can't find it. Oh, I put it up there to dry, didn't I? There. For a little photo. Unfortunately, as I said before, my printer is dreadful. It doesn't print on photo paper and some of the ink needs replacing, but I can show you how it holds a photo. There you go, that's wee Jack. He hasn't come to join us today. He normally does. So, did you enjoy that? That's a nice vintage craft with bobbins. I think that's us for today. Hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you can join me again next time. Not sure when I'm on again, but sometime in June. Enjoy your bank holiday weekend, and I hope this lovely weather lasts for you because it is gorgeous here. So I'll say good morning and I will see you again soon. So thank you for watching and goodbye.